Back in the United States, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota has created a lot of problems for the Democratic Party since she came to Washington in January. Now, reporters are finally taking a closer look at allegations from several years ago, well-publicized allegations, but widely ignored in the media, that Omar may have committed immigration-related marriage fraud. According to Omar's telling, she married her first husband, Ahmed Hirsi, in 2002, but only in a religious ceremony. She then separated from him, again only religiously, and then illegally married her second husband, Ahmed Nursed Elmi. Omar says she separated from Elmi in 2011 and reconciled with Hirsi, but she only legally divorced Elmi in 2017, if you can even keep up with that. Not easy. According to the Washington Examiner, though, several documents indicate that Omar and Hirsi were still living together for her entire marriage to Elmi. And that raises the question of whether her marriage to Elmi was, in fact, a sham from the first day. Omar herself could probably clear that up if she wanted to, but so far her office has persistently refused to answer any questions on the matter.
What is that noise?
This is the ghost.
Oh! Oh, hey! Hey, you all still talking in here?
What are you doing?
Her back went out, and I just did the best thing, which is get right on the muscles so they don't seize up.
Just add some heat to it.
Merry Christmas.
Next year I'm gonna ask Santa for breast implants because I'm impatient with my body.
So good. Oh, gosh! It's gone into a real bad spasm, so I put a yoga move on her.
Jerry, you can't do that to me, okay? It's a very serious show. This is a very serious time we're living in. We have very important things to discuss today. Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. Ooh, baby, we're going to go there on today's program. Man, have we ever got some original reporting for you on the issue of Ilhan Omar. Immigration fraud, incest, and some very, very dark documents that we have seen from the Department of Homeland Security about all of it. Well, maybe someone should stop yapping about the way that President Trump is enforcing immigration and laws in this country. We're going to cover all of it today. A lot of breaking news across the spectrum, including planes falling out of the sky once again, and peace breaking out in Ukraine. Thank God. Right now, major updates about Russia, America, and peace in our time, which is what we want, in fact, ladies and gentlemen. Representative Andy Barr, who is, I think, going to be running against Mitch McConnell in the Senate, will be joining us, along with Representative Brandon Gill, who has introduced or is circulating a petition about potentially kicking Ilhan Omar out of the House and then some. Brandon Gill is a representative who's making a lot of waves right now, and he's going to be on the show live to explain what his stance is on Ilhan Omar and immigration fraud. Ladies and gentlemen, you know our stance on these things. If you are here illegally or if you broke the rules to come to this country, there's a really good chance that you're not going to continue to follow the rules when you're inside of the home. If you smash the window to get into the house, or if you kick in the door to get into the house, there's a good chance you're not going to follow the rules and be a good member of the party, as it were. So that's our take, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that we've established once and for all that Ilhan Omar needs a visit from the FBI. This happened, actually. The FBI was investigating Ilhan Omar's immigration fraud, and then it all went cold after the 2020 election. Ladies and gentlemen, no stone unturned. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Ladies and gentlemen, I must implore you, be smart about your finances. Make sure that you're investing in things that matter, things that reflect real value. This is a very fascinating economy, and there's a lot of ups and downs, too many to track. There's also a lot of fraud going on and a lot of craziness. I'm not going to mention things or get into it, but there's a rug pull a day, right? And it's getting a lot of people in trouble. Make sure that you're betting on things that have been proven out. Now, will Elon Musk find any gold in Fort Knox? We're not sure. We actually covered that yesterday. Elon Musk wants to look for the gold in Fort Knox, but you should make your own Fort Knox, right? You should invest in gold yourself. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what I love about this current moment in the economy, is that those assets that have performed throughout all time are performing better than ever. Gold is the number one outperforming asset over the last 2.5 years. This is something that you should be diversifying with right now. You should go to my friends, ladies and gentlemen, at Advantage Gold. My friends at Advantage Gold can take care of you with 100% free, zero obligation gold investment guide. Plus, you could qualify for $1,000 in free silver. One more time, go to text Benny at 85545. Text Benny to 85545. Join America's next generation of smart investors. Text Benny to 85545. Let Advantage Gold help you with your precious metal needs. Message and data rates may apply. Performance may vary. Consult your financial and tax professionals, of course. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of consulting the professionals, this is what we need in this world. Serious people. What's happening in Ukraine is a proxy war. And I just want to start off with this. We don't typically have like there's a lot of like foreign policy shows, right? Navel gazing. And look at how many Ukrainian generals' names I can pronounce. I know which prisoners are in Belarus. Like, this is not like how we're very domestic focused, okay? Here. America First is about putting Americans first. And the reason why this news is very important to me is because the war in Ukraine was about shoveling untold trillions of dollars of value from this country's coffers out of the country into the pockets of globalists who hate this place and want to destroy. And Ukraine was literally a ruse to do that. Zelensky just said that of the $180 billion that was supposed to be spent in Ukraine, they are missing $100 billion. Now, you can link that up very nicely with what's going on with Doge, USAID, the absolute and massive frauds. It all connects, okay? USAID. Ilhan Omar is a creation of USAID. AOC is a creation of USAID. Liz Cheney, the queen of all warmongers, with her other dark queen on the throne, Hillary Clinton. All these people, the tentacles of this sick, demonic organ at the center of our government. What does it do? It takes a crisis. Karl Marx, never let a crisis go to waste. Takes a crisis, right? Never let a crisis go to waste. This is the things that Team Obama said. Is that Rahm Emanuel, right? Team Obama. You take a crisis. Doesn't matter whether you're Afghanistan, Iraq, Ukraine. And you say, oh, it's time for us to now spend billions more dollars in order to fix the crisis. Where does the money go? Sure as hell doesn't go to Ukraine. Hey, Alex, can you grab me that clip of Zelensky? This rat bastard, this guy. Sure doesn't go to Ukraine. I call him a rat. He's like a literal rat, this guy. He's like scurrying on his belly, embezzling the money. Every general in Ukraine driving a Rolls Royce. All of these guys, Zelensky buying beach houses in Lake Como, Italy. All of these guys mass murdering their people, taking the money. And how do you stop it? You stop the money. Who's providing the money? Sure as hell ain't Europe. They're broke. They're like the degenerate broke uncle that was like used to be something. Now he's just a sad sack, always hitting you up for a $5. This guy. It's not in Europe. It's America. And the two adults in the room, Russia and America, are meeting right now. Marco Rubio is leading the American delegation. You have Mike Waltz there, National Security Council, who's head of the National Security Council, and Steve Witkoff, who's a special envoy for President Trump. And they did an announcement today that they have effectively negotiated world peace, which is freaking awesome. Now, there are terms to these negotiations, and I think that we should let Marco obviously speak for himself But the top line is we reestablish diplomatic communications between the countries. Great. This is smart. You can't work with somebody if you're not talking with somebody. You don't trust people you're not able to communicate with. Appoint high-level diplomatic team to negotiate an enduring peace. Have elections in Ukraine. Isn't that something? Have an election in Ukraine. They want free and fair elections. In 2014, this is not what the show is about, but it's like kind of is what the show is about actually. America meddling in foreign countries, destabilizing foreign countries, actually how you get a crisis like the crisis that affected Ilhan Omar's family and brought hundreds of thousands of Somalis to Minneapolis, right? Changing forever the state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis. America destabilized Ukraine in 2014. We literally bragged about how we staged a color revolution, toppled the government, and then it became a vassal state of the United States. And that's why we don't care what Ukraine has to say about this. Everything that's happening in Ukraine is the result of a banal, sociopathic U.S. foreign policy that required total and complete control of countries 5,000 miles away from us, and rigging of elections, constant rigging of elections, and toppling of governments we didn't like. And this is how you get the nightmare in Ukraine that's led to, 1 million people dead. It depends on the estimates. But hundreds of thousands of people dying. You just destroyed an entire generation of people in Ukraine. It's like barely a country anymore. So yeah, that's totally evil. And we want it to stop. Marco Rubio saying it's going to stop. And the first way to do it is actually free and fair elections in Ukraine. Now, just one final note on this. Libs are going to say, no! Isn't that amazing? Libs are screaming about this. We're fighting in Ukraine to defend democracy. This is Mitch McConnell like, Mitch McConnell, I'm Winston Churchill. I defend democracy. It's like the delusions of these people. The fumes of this silent generation, brain rot. All these silent Jenners, okay, so they're not the greatest generation. These are the silent generation. These are the people that were born in the shadow of the greatest generation. Pelosi, Schumer, Mitch McConnell, they all get psyoped into thinking they're the next Winston Churchill, and that's what Ukraine was. And you take this brain rot from these people who've done nothing and built nothing with their lives, who created nothing of value, and you say, here's your chance to be Winston Churchill. And then they all spend billions in Ukraine. And all they did was end up engaging in a genocide, actually, against the Ukrainian people. It's nightmarish, it's demonic, it's evil, and it would be nice to have a resetting of the table. Yet, the first thing that Zelensky does is cancel the elections, cancel entire churches, right? So he outlaws the Christian church in Ukraine, cancels the election, brings in Maria Abramovich, a little Satanist, to come in and start running art in the country, embezzles all the money, kills everyone, gets completely jacked on cocaine, like Hunter Biden levels of cocaine usage. And it's a nightmare. It's just a living nightmare. So I'm happy that it's over. The adults are back in charge. Don't scream at me about how you're here to save democracy when you're against elections in Ukraine and you're for the little tin pot dictator that bans Christian churches in Ukraine. It's like the definition of despotism and tyranny. And I'll be so happy when the era of Zelensky is over and he can retire to one of his many homes bought on the backs of the American taxpayers. Here we go.
Appoint our teams, respectively, that have worked very quickly to reestablish the functionality of our respective missions in Washington and in Moscow. For us to be able to continue to move down this road, we need to have diplomatic facilities that are operating and functioning normally. That we're going to appoint a high-level team from our end to help negotiate and work through the end of the conflict in Ukraine in a way that's enduring and acceptable to all the parties engaged. The third point is to begin to work at a high level as well to begin to discuss and think about and examine both the geopolitical and economic cooperation that could result from an end to the conflict in Ukraine.
Good. That's what we want. This is what any rational person wants. So it's nice to have adults back in charge. It's good to have people that are back in charge that can actually usher in levels of competency in this nation. And that is what you actually want, a competent nation. Now, this brings us very quickly to another plane crash yesterday. Now, I don't like this. I don't like this stuff. This kind of stuff weirds me out a bit. I got to tell you, I still have bad vibes about this. This is the plane crash that occurred over the skies in Washington, D.C. just a few weeks ago. I was actually I was this close to flying into Reagan National. I was flying into Reagan National, booked to fly into Reagan National 8 hours after this occurred. We weren't able to do the flight because of this. And of course, I've lived in Washington, D.C. I've seen the air traffic and air patterns around the city time and time again, and it's horrifying. Here are what we know so far about this. And then we're going to move on to something that happened that's also human error, we believe, in all of these instances. There have been 3 major crashes. This was, at fault, a pilot of a Black Hawk helicopter who was a part-time pilot that was trying to get a certification. Her name was kept from the public record for days afterward, as we learned horrifying realities about the way that this helicopter was flying. It was flying a mile off course. It was flying twice as high as it was legally allowed to fly. It seemingly smashed into the side of this clearly, obviously visible, shining like a star in the sky commercial aircraft, killing 70 people. And we still have zero explanation as to why. Now, I want to show you something real fast here, and it just because it pisses me off. The point of a Black Hawk aircraft like this is maneuverability. So the reason why, and we have had experts on the show time and time again coming on to tell us about these aircraft, pilots talking about the aircraft, service members talking about the aircraft. What you can see here, and this is the best available footage, right maybe here. What you can see here is the tail light. You see the red light? There it is. You don't see any maneuverability. Any maneuvering in an aircraft that has high levels of maneuverability. What the hell is going on there? So the plane sneaks up on you. At the very least, stop. You're in a helicopter. Go up, go down. The tail of the helicopter will tell you where the plane is trying to go. Up, down, sideways. You can see here in this footage, clear as day, the tail doesn't move at all. In fact, if anything, it just seems as though it's going straight for the aircraft. Sorry, that's just what it looks like. I mean, that's what we can see with our naked eyes. There it is. So what's going on here? Somebody needs to explain this to us. The black box was recovered, and the black box said that it confirmed that this collision took place 400 feet, nearly 400 feet above the airport. That's twice as high as the helicopter is allowed to fly. So what the hell is going on with this? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we want the answers. Here's the final thing I'll say on this, because we've done too much research on it. Final thing I'll say on it. The people who gave us this footage, the footage I'll play for you right now, this was first leaked to CNN. The people who gave us this footage, they've all been arrested. They worked at the airport. What's happening here? So you're arresting the people who are giving us more information? Not good. Never a great sign. Having information kept from us, never a good sign. There seems to be a cover-up, but I'm certain, this happened this crash happened seconds after Trump was sworn into office. Is there something nefarious going on? The individual flying the helicopter did work for Joe Biden. I'm not saying that you can't serve in the military and also have worked for Joe Biden. I'm simply saying, like, have we come forward with all available evidence? No. In fact, the people who have released evidence that's in the public interest, is in the public interest for the American people to see everything right now. This is a test. Where's the recordings from inside of the cockpit of the helicopter for the Army? Where's the recordings from inside of the pilots' earphone comms, right? Apparently they were wearing night vision goggles as part of their training. Well, what's that about? I mean, the night vision goggles make it really hard to see. Well, not if there's something that bright. In fact, if there's something that bright in front of you, night vision goggle experts talking to our show, then it should actually like glow like crazy in your actual headset. You should be, whoa, there's something huge in front of me. The night vision goggle will amplify that light, not reduce it. They arrested the two individuals who leaked this information, which I think they're leaking it in the public interest, in the public good. So I'm against this. Anyway, I want more information, ladies and gentlemen. I want more information. Then, lo and behold, very much out of the blue, we have this, I mean, what looked like a freaking missile crash, you can see here, in Philadelphia. Absolutely crazy. Now, we know this to be a medical jet now that fell from the sky. But it killed people when it fell. I mean, it created horrible, just absolute hell on earth conditions here in Philadelphia. Nobody has come forward. There's been 7 people total killed. There were 6 on the craft, and then it hit a car and sadly killed a person who was just sitting there in a car in a very residential area. Thank God it didn't crash into those houses right here. There's like millions of people who live kind of in this general area in Philadelphia. What's going on? You know? What happened with this aircraft? Why did it fall out of the sky? Is there some type of like attack on American infrastructure with planes or with transportation? Well, then lo and behold, yesterday, we get this footage out of Canada. So this is footage of a Delta aircraft that had taken off from Minneapolis, was landing in Canada, and it flipped, and the wings blew off, big fireball. And thank God, as far as I know, please ALX confirm to me, but as far as I know, there is no confirmation that there's no confirmation that anybody is hurt. I'm just checking. I want to make sure about this. Is there any confirmation? Was there any? It's just people are not. They're injuries, but no one was killed in this. 18 injuries is the update. Not critical. 18 injuries. So, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. What's going on here? Well, now we have new footage of what's happening. New footage of what's happening. Here we go. This is the actual Delta aircraft as it's coming in for a landing. There you go. You can see the plane flipping and a ball of fire and flames shooting out of the plane itself. Crazy. Apparently pilots have come forward. I want to grab that. I want to grab the most recent, saying that this is probably pilot error here with the actual plane itself. Can you grab me that? There we go. Okay. So I wanted to, okay, that would do it. Here we go. So the pilot didn't flare the aircraft. And I don't pretend to be a pilot, so I'm not here speaking as an expert. The pilot didn't flare the aircraft before touchdown, meaning the plane slammed into the ground while dropping at a rate so fast that the main gear collapsed. The right wing breaks off and the plane rolls, skids to a stop. Lots of questions here. So this is another angle of the actual crash. You can see here the plane hitting very hard. Some people saying it was windy conditions, it was cold conditions. Still, there is a competency. There's a massive competency issue right now inside of our federal aviation. And this is a Delta craft. Obviously, these were American pilots. They were flying in Canada. But it's a big question. Who was flying the plane? I mean, these are the kind of things that you just cannot have happening. And now they're happening in quick sequence. 1, 2, 3. One after another. So, big questions, ladies and gentlemen. Massive questions, and we'll have, hopefully, some answers. This is what I want. It's the Black Hawk helicopter that makes me so I'm very bothered by that. I'm still very, very concerned about, like, what do and don't we know about that aircraft, about what was actually going on inside of that plane. Just seems nuts. Anyway, Mehdi Hassan is a individual who is an MSNBC host, who's somebody who was fired from MSNBC, now got a job on CNN. Mehdi Hassan posted, as soon as this footage was up, make American planes crash again. Mehdi Hassan deleted this tweet because it exposes that he is an extremist. Yet it would be a shame if it went viral. This is a real tweet that he posted. If somebody please needs to explain, can somebody from Mehdi Hassan please explain what's going on here exactly? What do you mean, make American planes crash again? In the aftermath of multiple American planes crashing and the deaths of dozens of people. What exactly do you mean there? Is that a threat? These geniuses. Will Mehdi Hassan be punished for this? There was an individual, you may not remember, but Pepperidge Farm remembers. There's an individual named Ryan Gudersky, one of the few Republicans that was allowed on CNN. And Ryan Gudersky comes on CNN and makes a joke at Mehdi Hassan. He makes a joke at the guy. You may love the joke. You may hate the joke. Whatever. It's a joke. And Ryan Gudersky not only had to grovel and apologize on air, but then was banned from CNN for life for making this joke. Now, here's all I'm trying to say here. Is CNN going to hold Mehdi Hassan to the exact same standards? Let's go.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing it.
You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people would sit there and... No, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that...
Did you just say I should die?
You should not...
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should be killed on live TV?
I said I hope you don't...
Guys, let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a supporter
of the Palestinians.
Hamas?
Guys, let me
I said
stop.
Palestinians.
Are you a supporter
Am I
of
what?
Hamas?
No, of course I'm not a supporter of
Palestinians are
Hamas.
not.
Then I apologize.
Are you a racist, violent person inciting violence against me?
Ryan.
That's disgusting.
That is completely...
Then I apologize.
Good
That
job,
is
CNN. Let's
completely
have first
out
block
of
say the
pocket.
Muslim guy
You
should
know
be
that.
blown
Then I
up
apologize.
on
Then I
TV.
apologize.
Don't
Then I
say
apologize.
then I
Wow.
apologize. You literally...
say
I thought you said
accused
Hamas.
him.
I apologize.
You didn't think I said
No.
Hamas.
Yes,
I
you
said I
did.
supported
Yes, I did.
Palestinian
Yes, I
rights.
did.
Why? Because when you hear
What's funny
Palestinian,
is
you
Rudy
hear Hamas.
Giuliani said this
No,
yesterday,
because-
so you're a great guest to
Listen.
be here
All
to
right,
defend
I
Rudy
told
Giuliani's
myself
Give me
I
one-
wasn't going to
give me-
entertain
give me one
nonsense
second.
today, and so at this point,
This is what we're in
I
now.
can't
This
do
is America in
Here's what
2024.
I will-
Okay. You may like it. You may not like it. You may like the subject matter of our show. You may not like it. We're talking about the news. We're going to explain to you the facts. He made a joke about the beepers concerning the amount of beepers that went off in Lebanon that were Hezbollah agents and the Israeli Mossad planted bombs in all of them, right? It's the famous warcraft, statecraft, intelligence op, right? So you like that joke? You not like that joke? Irrelevant. The actions of CNN was to ban that commentator for life. Now, is that joke better or worse than make Americans' planes crash again? Says Mehdi Hassan. Well, this is far worse, what's on your screen right now, than the beeper joke. So if CNN has any type of rigor, capacity to enforce its own rules, then it will ban Mehdi Hassan from being on its programming and will apologize to all of its viewers for somebody that they regularly platform. Here's hoping that this happens, because obviously this is incredibly insulting to the families. There's been hundreds of Americans who have died close to it in plane crashes, and we want it to be fixed. The Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, is inviting SpaceX engineers to go review all of the FAA's infrastructure and technology and everything that's anchors the capacity for us to fly planes and fly them safely in this country, and saying, well, these are outdated. Like the last time we did big updates were like in the 1970s for these systems. It's like effectively World War II radar systems that operate all of American aircraft throughout the nation. So let's get updating, right? And Pete Buttigieg is like popping off on this as well, saying that this is something, it's like blaming it on Trump. Trump's not been in office for a month. Pete Buttigieg, who's constantly worried about whether bridges are racist, what color of skin you have if you're a pilot. Pete Buttigieg, bro, if there is one guy who needs to just sit down and shut up right now, it's the dude who brought us East Palestine. That guy who apparently he wants to run for Senate, all right, is not a good time to be yapping, Pete Buttigieg. That is true. I don't think we have the clip available, but it's true. Pete Buttigieg gave a whole speech about how bridges are racist, how certain roads are racist. So there's that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, being done, shaking off the shackles of what has been, being unburdened by it, something we certainly like to focus on this program. American financing can help you be unburdened by what has been. If you are in debt, well, expenses certainly are going up in this country. Wages aren't keeping the pace, and many people are finding it nearly impossible to make ends meet. With little left over, after covering the basics, there's no surprise that many are resorting to credit cards just to get by, often carrying high balances and interest rates in the 20s or the 30s. If you're a homeowner and you're stuck in this cycle of mounting debt, you need to call my friends at American Financing. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving homeowners an average of $800 a month. You can put your hard-earned money back where it belongs. Plus, if you act now, you can even skip your next mortgage payments. There's no upfront fees, and it costs you nothing to find out how you can save each month. It's time to break free of the stress of debt. Call American Financing today. Take control of your financial future. 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219, AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's rock and roll. Okay, so I wanted to bring up the topic of this show is about immigration fraud. Here we go. This is the news that brought us to this topic, okay? This is from Axios, publishing on February 11th, 2025. House Republican fundraises with petition to deport Ilhan Omar. Let's read here, shall we? And then we're going to jump into the details that we know of Ilhan Omar and what the Somali community is saying, what DNA has said, what fraud may have happened here, And also note the fact that Ilhan Omar has been very, very upset and been doing quite a number of media rounds on this issue. So it makes it particularly pertinent to talk about. House Republicans are doubling down on a call to deport Somali American Rep. Ilhan Omar, Democrat from Minnesota, with a fundraising email urging supporters to sign a petition to that effect, Axios has learned. Why it matters. One of the most graphic examples to date of incivility, ladies and gentlemen, has gripped Congress. The fundraising email titled Petition to Deport Ilhan Omar, Brandon Gill of Texas, Republican, campaign wrote that we should have never let Ilhan Omar into the country. And frankly, America would be a much better place if she were to be sent back to Somalia, the email continues, according to copy obtained by Axios. The time has come to arrest and deport Ilhan Omar and sign my petition to send her back to Somalia. Brandon Gill, let's continue. Gill homed in last week a video of Omar advising Somalis in her district that they were not obligated to answer questions from ICE and urging them to learn the laws and prepare yourself. I think we have that video. We can play it for you. Ilhan Omar has also said that she wants to completely dismantle the Minneapolis police, among with many, many, many other statements that do certainly seem not akin to creating, well, a high-trust society. Gill's fundraising email on Tuesday accused Omar of facilitating a full-scale invasion of the country. Normal society would refer to that as treason. Spokesperson for Gill did not immediately request for comment. Democrats obviously don't like this. Ilhan Omar says it's fascist remarks. I think that you could argue that actual fascism is completely dismantling an independent police force and setting up state police, setting up state-sanctioned free speech. Talking all about that. Omar came to the United States as a refugee during the Somali Civil War in 1995, became a U.S. citizen. And she says, I hope that Representative Gill learns a thing or two. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's move over to what actually happened with Ilhan Omar. Let's jump on over here to the Daily Mail. Okay, this reporting exclusive from the Daily Mail. And we're going to add our own little reporting to this, and I think it will be a very interesting question moving forward, right? For how we conduct immigration in this country. Ilhan Omar did marry her brother and said that she would do what she had to do to get him papers to keep him in the United States, reveals Somali community leader. Okay, let's read from the Daily Mail. Let's just investigate this topic on its face. Ilhan told friends years ago that the man who went on to become her second husband was in fact her brother, according to the Daily Mail. Abedakam Osman is the first person to go on the record to speak about how Omar said that she wanted to get her brother papers so that she could stay in the United States. It's been long rumored that Omar and Ahmed Elmi are siblings, but because of the lack of paperwork in war-torn Somalia, proof has never been uncovered. The Somali community leader said she said she needed to get papers for her brother to go to school. We all thought that she was just getting papers to allow him to stay in the country. Omar was married to her second husband, Elmi, in 2009 by a Christian minister, although she is a Muslim. It's very strange. She was first married to Ahmed Hirsi in 2002 in a Muslim ceremony before they split in 2008. But she later had another child with Hirsi while legally wed to Elmi. Of course, would be frowned upon in any secular or religious relationship. Osman said that Hirsi and Ilhan got married. A lot of people were invited. It was a big Islamic wedding uniting two large clans in the community. He added when he married Elmi, nobody even knew about it. No one knew that there had been a wedding until the media turned up a certificate years later. So what this Somali leader is describing is immigration fraud that is intended to be a chain migration, right? So you say that I'm an American. I am going to now bring members of my family, my husband, my children, over because I'm married to them. You're going to have to provide documentation for that. And this is what the Somali leaders in Ilhan Omar's community say. Now, for the first time, one of the friends has come forward to reveal exactly how Omar and Ahmed Elmi scandalized the Somali community in Minneapolis. This Somali leader is one of the first people to go on the record to speak about how Omar said she wanted to get her brother's papers so he could stay in the United States at the time when she was married to her first husband. So what this individual is content. So here's the fraud, at least what we know on his face right now. Okay, this is what he is contending. And the individual is a Somali leader by the name of Abedikam Osman. He's saying that while remaining married in a Muslim ceremony to her first husband, and while siring children with him, in fact, she did a civil wedding at a Christian church with a Christian minister to the man who is biologically her brother in order to have the documentation to bring him over here. And that would be immigration fraud. That'd be immigration fraud, of course, committed by all parties, but specifically the American citizen, the naturalized American citizen. Because you're lying. And it's gross. And it gets weirder. Osman's revelations are sure to renew calls for an investigation into the Minnesota freshman representative who's repeatedly refused to answer questions on her marriage. She originally said that the idea of that spouses were also siblings was baseless and absurd rumors accusing journalists of Islamophobia in order to get them to stay quiet. Her spokesman told the Daily Mail that she does not comment on her personal life. Omar married her first husband in 2002 in a Muslim ceremony, like many in the immigrant community, was not registered with the state. Their first child was born the following year, and the second followed. But in late 2000, Elmi appeared in Minneapolis with Osman, who referred to Hirsi by a nickname, Southside, throughout the interview. People began noticing that Ilhan and Southside, Hirsi, were often with a very effeminate young guy. He was very feminine in the way that he dressed. He would wear light lipstick, pink clothes, very, very shorts in the summer. People started whispering about him. Ilhan told me that it was her husband, and Ilhan told me that it was her brother who had been living in London. But he was mixing with what were seen as bad influences, and his family did not like them. So they sent him to Minneapolis to rehab. Well. Okay. So there are various layers here. So the religious Muslim community, Somali community, didn't like the poor effects of globalist avant-garde London modern culture on her brother, and so they made a play to bring him to heal and to bring him back into the fold, as it were, by getting him stateside. When her first husband and Ilhan got married, a lot of people were invited. It was a big Islamic ceremony uniting big clans in Minneapolis. There were 150 people there. When she married Elmi, no one even knew about it. No one was invited. Osman said at the time that Hirsi was better known than Omar among Somalis. He was a footballer. He promoted a lot of Somali shows. He was very, very popular. So the scandal about is more about him than it is about Ilhan's brother. It was long rumored that Omar and Elmi are brothers and sisters. But there's a lack of paperwork in war-torn Somalia, so they don't have state records of this. All right. The first report that Omar and her husband were siblings appeared on a website, Somali Spot, in 2016. It was reported by their own community. As soon as Ilhan Omar married him and started at university or at her alma mater, shortly thereafter, he moved to Minneapolis, and he was living in public housing complex and was later evicted. He then returned to the United Kingdom. The New York Post reported last month that the FBI is investigating the marriage and had met with a source in Minneapolis who handed over a trove of documents related to the marriage. This is where our reporting comes in, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what we can add to all of this. According to our sources, there is a preponderance of documents on the federal level that exist in immigration agencies, Homeland Security agencies, that would undergird this story as true. I've spoken with people who've seen these documents, and it's clear that it's not just this, but there's a series of major immigration frauds that occurred in this chain migration. I've only spoken to sources. They have to remain anonymous. But these are people with direct knowledge. They said this is shady as hell. There was an FBI report into this. Apparently a trove of documents. Any findings were to be established with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the U.S. Department of Education, and the paper reported. Anybody found guilty of committing marriage fraud faces up to 5 years in jail and a fine of $250,000. Elmi and Omar married in February 12th, 2019, in Hennepin County office, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, southwest of Minneapolis. Their marriage license shows. Omar said that she and Hearsey had separated in 2008 because their faith-based union was never recognized by law. Neither is their separation. Elmi and Omar said they lived together at an address in Columbia Heights, a suburb in the north side of the city. The marriage was conducted by a Christian minister, Walesia Harris. When Daily Mail approached her last year, she would not discuss the ceremony or why the Muslim couple asked a Christian minister to marry them. She and her husband Marcus run the Great Mighty Works Ministries in Richfield, Minnesota, were described on his Facebook page as a non-denominational, Bible-believing, Bible-teaching Christian church. Jesus is anointed one. Strange person to have you marry. Strange person to do a Muslim marriage. Here's a photo of allegedly Ilhan Omar's brother here. Again, just you can see sort of the behavior that the Somali leader is talking about here, right? What might cause alarm for a very traditional, very orthodox Muslim family, right? Okay. So then you finally have the marriage certificate that scratches out their names, gets their names wrong, and leads to a lot of questions. These are the questions, ladies and gentlemen. So now this has reached, very interesting levels of questions. Ilhan Omar is attacking Doge, attacking Trump's deportations, and people are resurfacing this reporting. Elon Musk said, wow, in talking about it. Senator Mike Lee said, is this legal? How is that legal? This would be a question. Ilhan Omar response. The only thing that is confirmed is your stupidity. I hope that helps. Okay, so Ilhan Omar going hard at Juanita Broderick. Got it. And we have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, along with Lauren Boebert, we have that Lauren Boebert clip, ALX, Lauren Boebert from the floor of the House. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is it'd be nice to get these questions finally answered, right? Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't that be the point? So here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Lauren Boebert called her brother lover on the floor of the House. I'm not getting that wrong. She called her brother lover. She said, I didn't marry my brother like someone, and then she looks over at Ilhan Omar, gives daggers over here, is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Damn autocorrect. Every time I try to type your name, it keeps correcting to brother effer. Ilhan Omar, marriage fraud is a felony. Free upgrades are nice on airlines, but marrying your brother to give him an upgrade is a felony, and I look forward to making sure it is investigated. Well, 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 ladies and gentlemen. So the pot is officially boiling over. And, well, we're looking for answers. We'd very much like to have answers from the feds. Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody just investigate this and like tell us once and for all what happened? The documents exist. Our sources say that these documents exist and that they're very, very bad for Ilhan Omar. Here's what Lauren Boebert, the great Lauren Boebert, had to say about the quote-unquote brother husband from the floor of the House. And I quote,
Democrat policies are so pathetic and have done so poorly that the left has nothing else to do but troll the internet looking for ways to get offended and then try to target members and strip them of their committees. This is a dumb waste of the House's time. But since the Speaker has designated the floor to discuss members' inappropriate actions, shall we? The Jihad Squad member from Minnesota has paid her husband, and not her brother husband, the other one, over $1 million in campaign funds.
Well, there you go. So it'd be nice to take this from meme, right? This is something that's been talked about for ages. It'd be nice to take this from meme to actual investigation. And everyone should welcome this. Ilhan Omar should welcome it. Okay, if you're innocent, clear your name. But she's not acting like an innocent person. She's running around silencing reporters, throwing out names to even talk about this. Well, all of this reporting is based on your own Somali community. And then you see the actions of Ilhan Omar. And there are these videos that are popping up of Ilhan Omar begetting immigration fraud. Here's one that was just published like days ago of Ilhan Omar in Minneapolis telling what I would assume to be young refugees, young members of the Somali community, how to commit immigration fraud. Little on the nose here. Let's go.
Omar, how about Omar? Omar's in.
saxaafadda ayaa tala bixin siisay dadka sharciga aan haysan ee ku nool dalkan.
waxaan ula talinayaa dadka Soomaalida ah haddii ay maxaa la dhahaa ii sheeg ice ay isku dayaan inay ku su'aalaan muku qasban tihid inaad su'aalahooda aad ka jawaabtid waxaad dhihi kartaa lawyer aan advice garay inaanan ku jawaabin qasab ma aha magacaaga iyo sharciga ku joogtid iyo waxaas oo dhan iisa ku imaataybo inaad kala hadashid marka baro sharciyada iskuna diyaari in aad maxaa la dhahaa ii sheeg aadan dadkaaniiti aadan u sheegin information aadan rabin inay ogaadaan.
I mean, what you would call this is you would call this interference with federal law enforcement. Withhold information. Don't tell them anything. Quickly. Here's the pathway to not be deported. Here's the pathway if ICE questions you, how to get around ICE questioning you. An absolutely insane thing that AOC is being investigated for right now by ICE. Absolutely insane. Don't disclose your name. Don't tell them your immigration status. Don't tell them your mode of entry. Learn the laws. Prepare yourself. Don't cooperate with federal law enforcement. Well, you are federal law enforcement. You're a member of the Constitution. You're a member of Congress. And you're sitting here advising people who may or may not be criminals how to not get caught by federal law enforcement who are enacting the laws of the country. Seems pretty damn guilty to me. So, President Trump, who would have the power to look into something like this, which is all that we're calling for, right? I'm going to play you now a series of news reports on this. What's been reported, what we know, and what the administration could do, which is launch an investigation, like all the name calling be damned, and get the facts. Like, tell us the truth. It's going to be pretty easy. Is it her brother or not? Was it a legitimate marriage or not? Was this marriage, while she was having kids with her husband in a large Muslim, so that she married in a large Muslim ceremony, was this marriage a fraud in order to get legal citizenship status for her brother? This is the question on the table. Everyone's making jokes and memes about it, but like, let's do the investigation. From the year 2020, FBI reviewing claims Ilhan Omar married her brother. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is reviewing claims that Ilhan Omar married her brother, the Post has learned. 2 FBI agents held an hours-long meeting in Minneapolis in mid-October with a concerned party who handed over trove documents on Ilhan Omar's 2009 marriage to Elmi, allegedly her brother. At the meeting, first reported by The Blaze, the agents discussed concerns that the Somali-born Democrat is a British citizen rumored to be her brother, so he could obtain a green card and study in America. The two agents said they would share the information with U.S. Customs Enforcement and the Department of Education, but did not commit to opening an investigation into the firebrand lawmaker. If Ilhan Omar did marry her brother and was found guilty of committing marriage fraud, it's a felony, punishable by prison sentence and 5 years, $250,000. The three government agencies said they would not confirm the existence of an ongoing potential investigation. Congresswoman Omar's office did not respond. The 38-year-old's complicated personal life has been the subject of enduring scrutiny since she was set to Congress in 2018 midterm. In October, the mom of three filed for divorce from Ahmed Hirsi after the Post learned exclusively of allegations that she was having an affair with a D.C. political consultant. Omar initially denied the split, but the source told the Minneapolis Somali community that the pair broke up months before and claimed Omar was privately lobbying Hirsi to divorce her. Like, listen, just call it what it is. It's a mess of a life, okay? No matter what. Hirsi, the father of three children, remarried just 37 days after the divorce, was finalized November, and Omar had been repeatedly photographed leaving the same Washington, D.C. apartment. However, it's Omar's 2009 marriage to Ahmed Nur said Elmi, which raised eyebrows and now prompted the involvement from the FBI, records indicating that she lived with both men at the same time. So what the hell is that about? Omar and Hirsi were engaged in 2002, but never legally married, having a Muslim ceremony instead. The next year, the Congresswoman married Elmi, who she described as a British citizen, on her marriage license. Allegations that Elmi is Omar's brother first emerged in the since-deleted post of the Somali Spot message board by a user named Abdi Johnson. So there we go. The Somali community source personally observed Omar, Elmi, and Hirsi all living together in the same family home with the couple's children. The trio then decamped to North Dakota, where Omar began studying. So she lived with both husbands? Really? Like, take a step back. Like, what? Omar and Elmi split 2 years later. Freshman lawmaker got back together. And they had a third child after her second marriage. However, it wasn't until 2017 when Omar finally got around to divorcing Elmi, she legally wed Hirsi months later, right before she was sworn into office. Now she's divorced again, and now she begins, and now she has a different relationship. Here's husband one, husband two. Here they all are together. Huh? What? That's all we want to know. We just want to know the truth. Here's President Trump asking the same questions. What's the truth here? Let's go.
Omar, how about Omar? Omar's in there too. She doesn't like Israel too much, does she, huh? Didn't she marry her brother, right? She came in, she married her brother. This is nice. And they don't do anything about it. They don't do anything about it. With us, they do everything, right? Oh, they do everything.
Just open the investigation. How many investigations they open into Trump? This is a question. If you are innocent of these things, then you'll welcome the investigation, right? It's like, so a cop shows up, knocks on your door, and says, we think you're a serial killer. We're gonna that buries bodies in your backyard. We're going to dig around back there. If you're not the serial killer, you'll be like, have a good time, enjoy your workout, make sure you put the grass back, you won't care. If you are a serial killer and you have a bunch of bodies in your backyard in shallow graves, you'll begin to sweat. You'll begin to be very upset about these things. You'll throw a fit. You'll maybe run from the scene of the crime. So, like, in these situations, always look at who's behaving as an innocent party and who's behaving as a guilty party. Flashback, ladies and gentlemen. Tucker Carlson reporting on this issue with Trace Gallagher. Let's go.
When the accusation was first made a few years ago, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar tried to knock it down by calling it absurd. Then when the media turned up a wedding certificate, Omar went silent, refusing to make any comments at all, saying she does not talk about her family or personal life. Well, now others are talking, like Abdul Hakim Osman, a prominent member of the Minneapolis Somali community, who is now on the record telling the Daily Mail that in 2009, Ilhan Omar married her biological brother, Ahmed Saeed Almi, so that he could legally remain in the U.S. and attend college. At the time, Omar was married to Ahmed Hersey, but it was a religious marriage, meaning there was no Minnesota state record stating that she and Hersey were husband and wife, and so marrying her brother would allow her sibling to get his legal immigration documents. But Mr. Osman isn't just saying that Omar married her biological brother. He also gave the Daily Mail the name of the Christian minister who married them. That minister reportedly says she does not want to be involved or interviewed about Congresswoman Omar.
Okay. I guess that's your right. But on an issue like this, wouldn't you want to clear the air? What would easily clear the air here is DNA evidence. Miranda Devine, an excellent reporter for the New York Post, back in the day said she had the DNA evidence. Let's listen.
So it's been known for quite a while that Ilhan Omar apparently married her own brother to help him gain entry illegally into the country. That's a violation of immigration law. That actually happened, it turns out. And now we're learning the FBI had evidence to confirm it, but didn't do anything about it. Miranda Devine is an actual journalist. She works at the New York Post, where she writes a column. She joins us tonight to explain what exactly happened. Miranda, thanks so much for coming on.
Pleasure, Tucker. Well, some basically Republican operatives up in Minnesota decided to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on private investigators to really find out if Ilhan Omar was a genetic match, the DNA match, to the man who was her second husband. They went to 3 continents. They found a cigarette butt and a drinking straw, which they decided, they sent it to a DNA laboratory and found conclusively that the DNA matched, that the second husband was a sibling, according to this DNA sample. So the very day that they were going to unleash this on the world, and in fact I was interviewing one of the people involved, the FBI swooped on the gentleman, Anton Lazaro, from this Republican PAC up in Minnesota, and arrested him on some different charges. Who knows whether he's guilty or not guilty. I mean, he's not guilty until proven, but he's in jail. And so his story never got to see the light of day. I mean, luckily he'd told the FBI they were not interested. They told him the statute of limitations had run out. We managed to see the website before he took it down, before he was arrested, and managed to report the story such as it was.
So there's a 99.9999999% DNA match that a journalist got before being arrested? It just keeps getting weird. It's just weirder and weirder and weirder. Okay, what about the statute of limitations here? Ladies and gentlemen, Miranda Devine, at the time, statute of limitations. What exactly is that for immigration fraud? And what exactly is, where did this case go, right, over the last couple of years? It does seem to be boiling back up with the recent news from new member of Congress, Brandon Gill. Let's go.
I wonder, just kind of spitballing here, what will be more shocking to her fellow liberals? The fact that Ilhan Omar had an incestuous marriage to her own brother, or that she smoked cigarettes? Which will they be more stunned by?
Definitely the latter, and they've got photographs of her smoking the cigarette, so I don't think that's at all in doubt.
Yeah, incest is just a kind of alternate lifestyle, but smoking a cigarette,
That's immoral.
So just to be totally clear, she did marry her brother. We know that. Not only repulsive, but illegal. It's fraud. She's not been indicted. She's not going to be indicted. That's totally cool now.
Well, the FBI was told by one of these associates of these people that found the information and was just told no, that they've just decided the statute of limitations has run out on marriage fraud, even though there's no statute of limitations on immigration fraud.
Yeah, or on smoking cigarettes, apparently.
No statute of limitations on immigration fraud. So everybody who's a part of this should be welcoming the investigation. Obviously, the guilty parties will be the ones who scream, kicking and crying about it. And the innocent parties have nothing to hide, right? Yes. Just one final clip from the archives, since we weren't expecting this to be something that rockets back up to the top of the news cycle, but here we are, and it's worth dusting off these 4-year-old clips, because this is the last time people were really talking about this at scale. Now with a new Trump Justice Department and a new Trump Immigration Department that's very concerned about people who broke the rules to come here, perhaps we can get a proper investigation, which is all we've ever been calling for. The feds have these documents, right? So let's just have a look.
So I'm not sure that we explained that, or I explained that very clearly to our viewers. But give us the quick overview of how likely it looks that Congresswoman Omar may have committed marriage fraud.
Well, I think it looks very likely, actually. As you mentioned, a lot of these documents have been dug up. David Steinberg and others have done a great job over the last 3 years now digging up this information and putting it out there. The Minnesota media has simply failed to act, and the Minnesota media is decidedly liberal, and they are attached to the PC culture so much that they aren't doing their job here. And I think it begins with the Star Tribune needs to take down their picture of Ilhan Omar that's posted on their office wall. So that's really what we're dealing with here in Minnesota, Tucker, and I really appreciate you covering this here tonight. But this whole thing, my involvement in this began really about a year ago when I discovered that then State Representative Ilhan Omar had been fined for the 3rd time as a freshman representative here in the state of Minnesota by the Campaign Finance Board, and then I discovered that she had actually taken money then from the public universities in the state that the committee upon which she served made funding decisions. It was a direct violation of Minnesota House rules. But the interesting thing is Representative Omar covered the whole thing up by waiting a full 5 months and violating the law to cover it up so that she could make it past her endorsing convention, which happened 3 days before she finally posted the information, and she could avoid an inquiry from the Minnesota House Ethics Committee at that time because we were already out of session.
So election fraud and immigration fraud and marriage fraud. Well. Not exactly the kind of person who should be cooking on national news, talking about how criminal the Trump administration is and Doge. Probably best to keep your mouth shut. If you have that many skeletons in your closet, what do they say about glass houses and throwing stones? So, ladies and gentlemen, all we've ever asked for and all we are going to want on this front is a full-scale investigation. That's what we're going to be requesting. That's what we want. And we want an actual investigation where you relay out the facts about this. No more of these headlines like this. Ilhan Omar caught in double life. She's not fooling anybody. Secret hookups, romantic vacations to Jamaica with her married aide. They live together on and off. She has multiple divorces going on. The entire thing, it seems like, according to the sources, lies and hypocrisy and sneaking around, and it's all going to finally come to an end. These are what people in her orbit are telling the Daily Mail. It all needs to come to an end. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that could happen very quickly with an actual investigation. And again, the reason why we are on this topic is because here from the New York Post, Republican lawmaker is fundraising off petition to arrest and deport Ilhan Omar to Somalia. Now, we had asked the new representative. His name's Brandon Gill, to be on the program. Brandon Gill had a very unfortunate scheduling conflict and travel conflict. And so, unfortunately, Brandon Gill will not be able to make this program. But once again, maybe he has information that we don't. I mean, this is why we were very interested about this. Maybe he's seen the documents that we hear rumors about. Maybe he's seen them. Perhaps he knows something that we don't. And so we'll look forward to speaking to members of Congress. And then here's Brandon Gill's tweet right here. "We should have never let Ilhan Omar into this country," he says in response to Ilhan Omar hosting workshops for Somalis living in the country to legally advise them how to avoid being deported. It's right down in the article, Klein. You just give it a scroll. Yeah, it's embedded in the article. So there you go. This is what members of Congress are saying, along with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and so on. So we hope for answers. This is how you establish trust with the American people. This is how you establish a country that is ruled by the American people, law and order. You tell them the truth. Luckily, this is happening at great paces all throughout the Trump administration. Pete Hegseth says that he had tapped investigators for botched Afghanistan withdrawal. Accountability will be coming. The Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, told Breitbart News in an exclusive interview that he has already picked investigators to look into the Afghanistan withdrawal. This is something that President Trump promised when he was running for president. "We've already identified folks that will be in charge of a full investigation inside of the Pentagon," Hegseth said in an interview. "We don't have a time frame on it. Sadly, we've already waited 2.5 years, 3 years since it occurred. I don't want to wait any longer. We want to get this right." In July 2021, the Biden administration launched a chaotic and suicidal withdrawal that got 13 American service members dead, killed at the airport's Abbey Gate in a obvious and predictable terrorist attack. Joe Biden famously looked at his watch while those Americans' bodies were being taken off the plane in a dignified transfer in one of the greatest low points in American history. In addition, hundreds of Americans were left behind despite the administration touting the withdrawal as a success and bragging about its conducting the largest withdrawal in history. On his way out, the U.S. military conducted a strike meant to target the suicide bomber, but ended up killing an aid worker and his family instead. Then Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley, touted it as a righteous strike, but you literally just killed an innocent family. No leader has ever been held accountable or fired. Only Marine Lieutenant Stuart Scheller, who's been a friend of the show and been on the program, to ask, actually, for this investigation, demanded accountability in a viral video. He lost his career. President Donald Trump appointed him as a senior advisor, defense, undersecretary of personnel and readiness. So that is absolute justice. Hegseth says accountability is coming. The only way you establish accountability is establishing real fact chains of events, information, and what happened. Why did it happen is exactly what we're asking for. Not only on the Black Hawk helicopter, smashing into the commercial airline, but also on Ilhan Omar and on here in Afghanistan. Who made the decisions? What's the reason they made that decision? Why did they give advice or were not given advice? Why did they execute an order in a certain way? Why didn't they speak up when they were supposed to or not? This is our job. This is what's happening. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, full swing. These investigations, we look forward to them. I'm very excited about it. Kash Patel confirmed this week. Whew, it's going to be, I think Thursday, right? It's plotting out on Thursday. We're going to see a Kash Patel vote today, right, for cloture, bring his name to the floor, and then Democrats are going to filibuster, and I'm pretty sure it's looking to be Thursday. It's looking to be Thursday for the vote for Kash Patel as FBI director. Man, we are excited about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're also excited about our next guest, Representative Andy Barr, who is someone who recently got on our radar because of a particular thorn in our paw, a man named Mitch McConnell, who is a Kentucky senator who's being wheeled around right now in the Senate Hospice Center. And this is a man who wants to step up. He's currently a representative for the 6th District in Kentucky, member of Congress, and Anybody who wants to gently remove Mitch McConnell from the Senate is a friend of mine. So please welcome Congressman Andy Barr to the program. All right, Congressman, how are you this morning? Welcome to the show. Big days for your committees. Select Committee on China, Foreign Affairs, Financial Services. Man, you're going gangbusters.
Benny, what an honor to be with you.
This is a very exciting moment in time, and I just want to maybe it's kind of dovetails into Mitch McConnell, but your take on the peace deal in Ukraine. This is something breaking news as of this morning. It seems like Marco Rubio is doing a great job there. You're on the Foreign Affairs Committee, and so this is a foreign affair I'm sure you've had your eye on. Our audience is certainly sick of us shoveling money into that money pit. This has got to be a real positive update for you.
Very positive. And Benny, I mean, this is a great example of why we need President Trump in the White House. Putin would have never invaded Ukraine if Donald Trump was president. But when Joe Biden came into office and retreated from Afghanistan and signaled to our allies that he would not stand by them, when he unilaterally removed the sanctions on Nord Stream 2 and had this feckless response to Putin, that was an invitation to aggression. Contrast that to Donald Trump, who comes in and says, we're going to use the actual leverage that we have as a country to end this senseless war. And it's peace through strength. Once again, this is why Donald Trump is the most historically consequential president of my lifetime.
Yeah, we just want people to stop dying, right? And these wars end up costing us enormous amounts of treasure. They're 5,000 miles away. They don't seem to really affect people of Kentucky. But Mitch McConnell is somebody who's constantly in the Senate talking about how this is the most important battle of our era. And I'm like, dude, there's a pothole in front of my house. And there's crumbling bridges all over my city. And no, actually, Ukraine isn't the number one thing on most Americans' minds. It's like the price of eggs.
Well, look, deterrence is the most important thing. And this president has shown deterrence, peace through strength, instead of sending money to USAID and to all of these causes overseas. You don't have to do that if you actually demonstrate strength through deterrence. And the truth is, the largest geopolitical threat of our time is the Chinese Communist Party. And Marco Rubio and Donald Trump have the right priorities in place here, and making sure that we deter Putin so that we can focus on the biggest threat is, I think, the right strategy here. One thing I would say is that thank goodness for Doge and Elon Musk, because they are exposing to the American people, the hardworking taxpayers of this country, the waste that has been going on for a number of years, especially under Joe Biden and Barack Obama before him. The waste in foreign assistance. The American people, 77 million Americans, voted for America first. And thank goodness we have Doge to expose things like $75,000 for a drag show workshop in Ecuador, or $122 million to organizations affiliated with designated terrorist organizations from USAID, or $2 million for sex change surgeries in Guatemala through a trans organization, $500,000 to an Indonesian coffee company to become more climate and gender friendly, or $5.5 million to Uganda to combat a homosexuality law. And by the way, that particular grant that went to Uganda to fight their own internal policies, that pushed Uganda into the arms of China's Belt and Road Initiative. And now Uganda is working with the communists in Beijing to build a $5 billion East African oil pipeline. I mean, it's not only waste, it's counterproductive to our national security. So thank goodness for President Trump and Elon Musk and Doge for rooting out all of this waste.
It does seem like an untenable position to be in if you are a Democrat, because they've decided, instead of doing the smart thing, which would be, yeah, there's government waste and we don't like it either, and we're going to unite with Republicans to stop the waste. That's like what the 90-10 issue is. Instead of doing that, it's like, we love government waste and we want forever, we're going to sue. so that unelected, forever bureaucrats can blow all of your money directly into a furnace. But the furnace is in Uganda. And so like that's the Congressman, that's what the other side of the aisle is saying. That's the message they're sending the American people. I don't think it's going to win, man.
No, it's not going to win. And it's just common sense. I mean, these people are, this is the hill they're willing to die on, is to fight this kind of ridiculous waste, fraud, and abuse. The American people are the hardworking taxpayers of this country. They don't deserve this. They deserve better than this. And to put it into perspective, why do we need Doge? I mean, the Democrats whine about a billionaire who is having access to our payment systems in our country and looking for a little bit of waste, fraud, and abuse. You would think that they would understand that this is something that 77 million Americans voted for. And consider this, Benny, we have in this country today, we are issuing $573 billion. Think about that, $573 billion a week in new bond issuance, treasuries, every single week. To put that in perspective, the entire national debt of Australia is $573 billion. So we're issuing the Australia debt every single week in this country. One would think a little bit of circumspection on the wasteful spending that's going on is in order. And they call it a constitutional crisis, the Democrats and the liberal media. They call it a constitutional crisis. No, what the constitutional crisis is in this country is spending our children's future into oblivion. We need a little bit of fiscal responsibility. And every one of these reforms that are being proposed by Doge and Elon Musk and the people working for government efficiency, these are proposals, recommendations made to Congress and politically accountable people in the administration. So, for example, Secretary Rubio is ultimately the politically accountable person who is making the decision to pause all funding from USAID. It's not Elon Musk, an unelected person. It is a politically accountable, Senate-confirmed secretary. That is not only constitutional, it's appropriate, and it is consistent with the separation of powers. When we appropriate funding for foreign assistance, when Congress does, and I've voted against most of it anyway, but when Congress appropriates it, it's not like we put line items that we want it to go to a drag show. It's not like we put a line item in there that we want it to go to LGBT policies in Uganda that hurt our national security. These are decisions made by the Biden USAID and the Biden State Department. And under statutory law, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has the discretion, the authority to rescind all of this wasteful and reprioritize it to what is in the interest of the American people. That is America first. Thank goodness that's the new policy of the new sheriff in town.
Okay, so you say America first, and that is what you want, and I agree with you, of course. Every American, logically, would. However, and I was very excited that you were on the show today, because I popped this up right before my 9 p.m. bedtime last night. This is Mitch McConnell's legacy. And I'm not sure how closely you can see the screen here, but all it is a map between 2000 and 2024, and how the entire manufacturing base of America was gutted in that time. Now, that's the time where Mitch McConnell was in charge of the Republican Party in the Senate. And he was dead set on ensuring that China got as big of a piece of the pie as humanly possible. And it's devastating. I'm not sure you'll ever be able to reverse this, honestly. This is the trade totaled. This is global trade dominance, U.S. versus China. And China has obviously eaten our lunch across the world, around the world, and it's really flipped, frankly. It seemed there are rumblings that you may run either against Mitch McConnell or if he resigns. How would you reverse this, Congressman?
Well, we need an America First policy, and thank goodness we have President Donald Trump, who actually is the first president in my lifetime who has recognized the real threat from China. As these graphics point out, China has engaged in unfair trade practices, and frankly, leaders of both political parties over the last several decades made a huge miscalculation and thought that if we only just traded with China, if we only just allowed them into the trading system, the World Trade Organization, and gave them preferential trading status, if we only just engage with China, that they would somehow democratize, that they would liberalize their system, and that we would introduce free market capitalism into their system. Instead, they exploited that openness. They exploited that mistake. And now they are a peer rival of the United States in many respects. I love what President Trump has done, which is not only to confront the threat from China, but use the levers of American economic power. And I've talked to Secretary Lutnick, Howard Lutnick, who I think will be confirmed this week, and also Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, about how we can push back and use our economic power to relocate supply chains onshore and start standing up for American manufacturers once again. Reciprocity is the goal from this administration on trade. And I'll give you an example from Kentucky. A lot of Chamber of Commerce types, a lot of establishment traditional Republicans say, oh, well, we need free trade and we shouldn't be fighting any of this. We should have access to China and we should have access to these markets. We don't want to start a trade war. That would be disruptive. And you hear that from Democrats in Kentucky who worry about retaliatory tariffs on Kentucky bourbon. But here's the power of the Trump policy on trade. Yes, of course, we want open market access to Europe, and we don't want retaliatory tariffs on Kentucky bourbon exports. But when we went to India, which has 150% tariffs on Kentucky bourbon exports, the largest market in the world, 1.4 billion people, because President Trump and incoming Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick said, you are not treating American bourbon exports fairly, and because we are threatening through President Trump tariffs to achieve reciprocity. Because of that, India and Modi just announced a 50% reduction in tariffs of Kentucky bourbon exports into the largest market in the world. That is what an America First trade policy looks like. We're going to do it to China. We're going to do it to India. We're going to do it to Europe. We're going to do it to the rest of the world so that America has manufacturing back in the United States and we become the #1 exporter in the world. And Kentucky bourbon is just one example of how Americans will benefit.
Cheaper, better bourbon for the world. Well, you're speaking my love language, Congressman. Okay, so this is the news that's splashed atop Fox right now about you, Andy Barmall's Senate bid. It's time for Kentucky to have a U.S. senator who supports President Trump. Are you going to be running for Mitch McConnell's Senate seat? Will Mitch McConnell be running again? We've covered quite in detail some of the more recent falls and the wheelchair, and we want Mitch McConnell to retire for his own sake. Same way for same thing with Joe Biden, right? We like there's a point at which it becomes like hospice care, and you don't want that. It's actually cruel to the individual. So recognize when your time's done. Do you think Mitch McConnell's gonna retire? Question number one. And are you gonna run for this seat, Congressman?
Well, we're still doing the due diligence, and we're getting a lot of encouragement around the country and especially in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, because look, the American people want a Congress, a Senate that supports President Trump. I certainly do. I was the chairman of the Trump for President campaign in Kentucky. I was the first member of the Kentucky delegation to endorse President Trump before the 2024 election, before the primary. I did not, unlike others who are talking about running for Mitch McConnell's seat, Kentucky seat in the Senate. I did not ever serve on the payroll of Mitch McConnell, and I never donated to I never donated to Donald Trump's opponent, like Nikki Haley, like some of the individuals who are talking about running for the Senate. So, look, I'm an America First conservative. I support President Trump's agenda. I've been there every step of the way. President Trump has come to my district way back in 2018 and campaigned for me, and I welcome that. And I asked him to do so because I fully support this president's agenda. And here's the bottom line, Benny. Kentucky deserves a senator who will support this president, who will support this president's cabinet, who will support this president's agenda. I do, and I look forward to continuing my work to turn this country around with President Trump.
Yes. I mean, it's like, forgive me, because I love Kentucky. This is where I had my bachelor party. I've gone to Kentucky a number of times on the Bourbon Trail. I love Kentucky. There's nothing but warmth in my heart for the state of Kentucky. But y'all's state is schizophrenic. Like, it's like manic depressive. Like, if you have Rand Paul, who's one of the best senators in the world, versus Mitch McConnell, who's the only senator to vote against the biggest picks for Donald Trump. He voted against RFK and Hegseth and Tulsi. It's like, that's like bipolar, man. You should have a senator that represents Kentucky. Like, we're down for that. And we know the people of Kentucky, they're like great salt of the earth, like best people you'll ever meet. And I think you guys are being poorly represented, frankly, with one of your senators. So,
well, I'm my own man. I mean, people say, "Oh, are you this kind of Republican? Are you that kind of Republican?" Look, I'm an Andy Barr Republican who is an America First conservative. I believe in limited government. I believe in cutting spending. I believe in living within your means. I believe in free enterprise, and I believe in putting the American people ahead of anything else. That's the number one priority. And again, Kentucky deserves a U.S. senator who shares their values. And look, the proof is in the pudding. Kentucky voted for President Trump overwhelmingly. And I'll say this too, to the people of Kentucky. Do you want a candidate, a nominee, a Republican nominee running for U.S. Senate who can not only support and defend this president and his agenda, but someone who's going to win? The only way a Democrat can win statewide in 2025 or 2026 in Kentucky is to win the 6th congressional district, the Central Kentucky district, the district that I've represented for the last decade in Congress. That is the only purple district, the only swing district in Kentucky. I just won it by over 25 points, 2 cycles in a row. And, some of the individuals who are looking to run, one of them in particular, he ran for governor and he lost the district by a mile. That's the way we have a Democratic governor, is because our Democratic governor, he won my district twice. And the last time he defeated someone who's talking about running for the Senate, and he defeated him by 19 to 20 points. I think it was like 59 to 41%. Our Democratic governor won the district that I won by 25%. I can deny any Democrat the path to statewide office, and certainly the path to the U.S. Senate. And I can do so, more importantly, by being a strong, consistent, and reliable ally of President Donald Trump.
All politics is local, man. We always say that. So it's where it's actually it's where it actually happens, and that's why you got to grind it out and got to know what's up. And we appreciate you, Congressman, being on the program. Everybody, go follow the Congressman, Congressman Andy Barr, right here with a sweet Kentucky racehorse right there. Love to catch a race with you sometime, Congressman. Sip one of those tariff-free bourbons.
You got it.
All
Thanks
right.
so much. Thanks, Benny.
Thank you. Thank you. We will be traveling this week, and we hate that. Why do I mean that? Because it means we might be offline for a day or two. We're still working out our production schedule. We may be offline for a day or two. It's like because we have so much packed into our trip to DC. We want to take advantage of this. There's so many members of the administration that want to meet with us, that key individuals that want to lock in with the show. And so please stick with us over the next week. We will be live for Cash's confirmation hearing. We'll do our best to we're bringing the studio with us. Obviously, we're going to do our best to do our show, but it's going to be catch can because we have just such a rocking series of events. We're going to be obviously speaking at CPAC, maybe a little White House visit in the midst of all of that, maybe some other bigger things. We're excited about it. Not going to count our chickens, but we're thankful for you. We're thankful for you giving us the power to go do these things and to have this outsized effect on politics. It's humbling, right, to have so many key members of the administration wanting to reach out, wanting to grip and grin and find out what's up, get access to what we're building here. So thank you. We want to bring that energy for you every single day. That is why we use Brick House Nutrition, ladies and gentlemen. Many, many years Democrats spent forcing mandates down our throats, dictating how we should manage our health. How'd that result, by the way, work out? Did people get healthier throughout COVID? Did people get healthier with these insane anti-health mandates? Don't go out in the sun. Don't eat healthy foods. Make sure you stay inside and eat processed foods and make it hard to breathe. Double mask. Yeah, okay, no. Field of Greens ain't about that, baby. I'm reclaiming my health with Field of Greens. America's confidence in our healthcare system has hit a 24-year low. Hopefully, RFK Jr. can fix that. But Field of Greens helps me fix my energy levels every single day. Field of Greens uses whole fruits and vegetables. That's it. That's it. We could all use more of that in our diet. Just one drink, and you've got a healthy way to start your day. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you use Field of Greens and go to Field of Greens. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Well, sorry, I had to reload my script there for just a second. My apologies. Go to fieldofgreens.com, code Benny. Fieldofgreens.com, code Benny. Sometimes we do the script pretty much off the top of our heads, but there is like physical like bullet points and articles and things that we brick out. And we don't have a teleprompter or anything in the studio. We're just like letting her rip every single day. And so we have like a little document, right? Document closed down. It's just how it works, you know? It's just how it goes. Fieldofgreens.com. You can use the QR code right there. Ladies and gentlemen, go in and get the energy today. Discount code Benny. Okay, let's continue here. We've got the verse of the day. Here we go, and then we're gonna have a exciting week. We'll be traveling tomorrow. Verse of the day from 2 Corinthians 12:19. Each time he said, "My grace is all that you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I'm glad to boast about my weakness so that the power of Christ can work through me." My power works best in weakness. This is what we're going to talk about at CPAC. Like, never count them out, man. Never count God out. Like, be sure that you are understanding that it's actually the down times, times of pain, where God is causing you to grow and discipline. There is no growth without pain. There is no love without actual discipline. If you are weak, this is a moment for you to grow in strength, and God is all that you need. His grace is sufficient. So make sure that you have the power of Christ with you, and well, you can do just pretty much anything. And that's what we plan on doing this week up in Washington, D.C. We'll be in D.C., I think, for the rest of the week. A little fluid here. There's so much going on, but we'll be excited to bring you shows from Washington, D.C., the Kash Patel vote live. Yeah, but like literally live. Okay, stay tuned. And a lot of other exciting content. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. You can't defeat an army of happy warriors, so thank you for marching with us. Let's go win. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
What is that noise?
This is the ghost.
Oh! Oh, hey! Hey, you all still talking in here?
What are you doing?
Her back went out, and I just did the best thing, which is get right on the muscles so they don't seize up.
Just add some heat to it. Merry Christmas.
Next year, I'm gonna ask Santa for breast implants because I'm impatient with my body.
So good.
Oh, gosh! It's gone into a real bad spasm, so I put a yoga move on her.
Show where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny shows a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.